the Hall of Famer Jerry Jones joining us, brought to you by Ford. Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Good to be on with you.
Hey, man, how are you going to top that high and the impressive fashion of which you guys performed on Sunday? I mean, that was freaking impressive, wasn't it?
I think so. You always want to, when you've been through training camp, you finally put it all together. Your main guys are going to be out there the whole time and on the field, so to speak. And so you see them get not only measured reps, but you see them do what they're prepared to do, and that's play an entire game, usually as many as 60 snaps up for many of the players. To see them have that kind of success, execute that way, was really fun.
Jerry, it seemed like we may be guilty of hyping a thing or two during the season and off season. All the storylines came together. Dak improvement, Kellen and Kitna, Gallup growth, Randall Cobb, offensive line healthy again. It's got to be rare to have all these things come together in such great fashion, no?
Well, it never does. You can make a nice little list of things you'd like to have had also work that needs some work. But bottom line is you really saw not only the rewards or the result of hard work, but you saw the upside that's out there as well. And I think you start with the quarterback. We all know that if we can get top quarterback play, that can really be that is a must. And I was very pleased with how Dak is doing. I heard last night Dak had gotten the improvement to the level of what you might have expected last year, which was probably unrealistic, but certainly he has really improved. Dak, our quarterback.
Jerry, there was a lot of questions that a lot of us had going into this year with Dak. How's his accuracy, his aggressiveness, his anticipation? Did you get a lot of answers to those questions, you think, on Sunday?
Oh, I don't think Sunday gave answers. I think Sunday just showed, frankly, where he is. And the good news is he's going to improve a lot from here. It always happens if quarterbacks stay healthy, and they just get better. And Dak certainly is better than he was last year. He's worked hard to get there. That's a good thing. I like the combination we've got going right now, obviously with Kellen Moore. You know you're going to get to him, but it's great that he can work with Dak, communicate the way they can. They're in sync. We're going to really benefit from that.
Jerry Jones with Sean and RJ on 105.3 The Fan. Romo, and you've always talked about Romo seeing the game differently, and we all see it in the booth. Dak says you cannot compare where he is mentally right now to the first few years of his career. Do you see that in the meetings and talking to him, Jerry, that he's just in a different place from a football intelligence standpoint?
Well, I think he's right on, and but it's not just football. I think if you look at everything that people do, if they get passionate about it, if they get dedicated to it, focused on it, you just get better. That's human being. That's being young and getting better. And I don't know what young means. You can be young at 60, I guess. But the point is, he is better. And without injury, he's got a great chance to even get better as we move along. And that's, we know, at least the only experience I've ever had of even thinking about going all the way was with a great quarterback in quarterback play in Troy Aikman.
Did you or Steven sit next to each other with every touchdown pass and say, cha-ching, 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 this could be costing us a lot of money right now?
Well, not really. Not, frankly, we if Dak had gone out there and had a bad day, that doesn't impact things. You can't operate that way. And so I look at it as if he goes out and things don't go good for him, I hope when it's not going the best for him that we're taking up the slack with defense. We're doing it another way. That's why it's important to have this team out there and have all the supporting cast. And I mean, when I say supporting cast, young players like Vander Esch, players like Lyle Collins, people like that, those supporting cast may be a misnomer, may be trite. Those guys are making it happen.
Jerry, you had said a contract could be imminent for Dak. Steven came on this very station yesterday and said you sometimes have different meanings for different words. So got to clarify, what does imminent mean to Jerry Jones?
Well, it means ready to take place, close, near, about to happen, those types of things. And I think I said at our luncheon that we had that I went even farther, and I said at the luncheon, I said Dak will be on the field when we play, when we open up. And I thought that I really then had gotten out over my skis because, as I've said so many times, nothing happens until both parties decide that what they're seeing and that it's time to go. Nothing, ever. And so I was asked my opinion, and I think that we are fast approaching an agreement. Then that's relative maybe to where we've been. On the other hand, that might be my opinion. It sure might not be Dak's opinion. And when Dak expresses his opinion or his agent expresses their opinion, that may be different than my opinion, and so that can go on for a long time. So it's when somebody asks your opinion on whether something's done that takes two to do it, they're speaking just from their perspective. And in my mind, we were fast approaching a deal.
Jerry Jones with us, brought to you by Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. Jerry, it seems like you guys have been okay with waiting and not submitting to the market or giving in or letting that control your negotiations, which
that's just not right. That's not right at all. It implies that we're not in the market, and that's just incorrect on any of these players. But what it should imply is that, or be, is that it's pretty obvious we've got a lot of talent on this team, and we don't have enough money to go around. That's the nature of the cap. It'd be a pretty easy process if there were just plenty to keep everybody. But that doesn't happen. And if we can keep this team together, we think we do have great players, beginning with Dak as the leader and beginning with Dak as the most substantive position. But, boy, we're going to have to be very judicious. We're going to be very calculated. We're going to need the break. We're going to need that cap to go up. But even with all of that, the thing is designed for teams not to keep all the players.
Yeah, I get that, and I agree with that. Let me rephrase. A fan question has been, why not get in before Goff and Wentz and not cost yourself more money? Why not get in before Julio Jones and Tyreek Hill and Michael Thomas rather than have those deals done and then maybe have to pay for that? Is that a fair question?
Well, first of all, Goff and Wentz, they had great Sundays. They both won, and they both played well. And Dak had great Sundays and played well. And I sure like our quarterback. The idea is that you knew when they were going to sign, and you don't. And the point is that you don't necessarily sit there with every player and say, I want to get him before somebody else on another team is signed. You could say that we did that with Jalen Smith. You could say we did that with Collins. But who are you going to say it about? Who's still out there to sign? Who hadn't signed? Who'd we beat and who'd we get behind?
Right.
And so that you're dealing with a lot of different perspectives when you start talking about, well, why didn't you do this? There's a lot of hindsight there. But more importantly, what's important is that we just at our at what works for the Dallas Cowboys, we haven't had an opportunity to sign a player if he's not signed, and we still want to sign him. In Dak's case, we hadn't had an opportunity to sign him for what we want to sign him for.
Makes sense. So you guys with Dak, you're not in a process of evaluation. You're past that and just trying to lock something up. You're not evaluating to say, hey, do we need to see more to get this done?
Well, the kinds of dollars that we're talking about with Dak speak for themselves. That's already been noted, and we've already way back said that we would do. Those, by their very nature, are way past valuation question marks.
Jerry Jones joined us here at 105 through the Fan. What did you think of the game plan Kellen Moore cooked up this week?
Well, I think it involves a lot to say that it has his fingerprint on it, but, boy, it did have the fingerprint all over it. The best way I know to say it is that when Kellen and our Colombo, our offensive line coach, both of them young, former players, and I still think of Colombo as a recent former player. But both those guys, you weren't paying for their experience. You weren't paying for their seasons either in college or as a pro football head coach. That's not what you were getting. What you were getting was some really talented guys that had a real passion for the game, spent all their time, all their professional time, and some of probably their non-professional time just trying to figure out how to win and how to be a better coach. You want them to come in and use their new ideas, use their freshness, use their exuberance. All of that has a place in anything, and when you use it and put it to bear and show confidence that you want them to use that and take risks, then you can really sometimes get a lot out of the fact that they don't have experience. That's the case here with Kellen.
Yeah, you've always valued the unknown with his youth, and Romo said that it's going to be a surprise for a lot of people around the league not knowing what game plan was coming. Does a part of you, Jerry, after week one say, man, maybe we should have implemented some of these changes in the past with the offense rather than right now?
There's not a step. There's not a position. There's nothing that you can do on a football field that hadn't been done. Nothing. But when you think of the years and years and years, it's combinations, it's timing, it's when you use them, it's the circumstances that you use them in. When do you stay aggressive? When do you pull back? All of those things are like a beautiful woman, so to speak, because while there may be parts that are not in and of themselves the epic beauty, you put it all together in different ways, and it may be the prettiest woman that's ever been on earth. And yet many parts of it have areas you could criticize. It's how it comes together and the intensity with how it comes together. I had a guy one time that owned 400 Howard Johnsons, and they had cooks 24 hours a day. And I said, where in the world do you ever find all those chefs? That must be a nightmare. And he said, well, you don't. He said, it's about intensity. You find people and you tell them if it's supposed to be hot, burn the roof of their mouth with it. If it's supposed to be cool, make it like hot ice. Intensity covers up a lot of the frailties of the talent and preparation. Well, that is a lot to do with being a football player and being a football coach.
Jerry,
how are we supposed to follow up those two analogies,
man,
right?
I love a good Hojo analogy. I haven't seen one of those in a while. It's good stuff. Jerry, the defense gave up 470 yards, about 7 yards of play. Did you come away from that game with any concern or worry about the defense repeating itself from last year?
Well, I liked a lot of stuff that we did last year. And there are many things that I know we want to do better, but we did some really good things on defense last year. I like the fact that we were out there all day and we really didn't blitz. We played pretty straightforward all day. That's hard to do, and that'll give you a better chance not to create a bad play. We have a lot of things to work on, but boy, I love the way that where our talent is. Love it up front, and include the linebackers up front. And I love it in the secondary. I think we're going to really be a stellar defensive team to go with what I think will be good offensively as well.
Last one, Jerry, we'll use your same word. Do you have the same feeling that an Amari deal is imminent like Dak's?
Well, yes, in that same sense. On the other hand, I can't give you anything specific, but I know that we want to re-sign, we want to sign Cooper. And you saw that was about as pretty a pass play as I've seen, utilizing what he does the best. And Dak at one of his best throws ever, I thought, the other day, the touchdown pass to Amari. But the bottom line is imminent means near, and certainly I know that the parameters are getting in better shape. I'm aware of some of the things he's doing over in his camp, and so relative to where we probably were 3 months ago, 6 weeks ago, it's more at hand. Yes.
Well, look, you have everybody buzzing with that offensive performance. Kellen Moore and Dak, the toast of the town, and you're the one who has them there. So congratulations on an amazing debut, and best of luck against the Redskins.
You know, I want to, while I've got a chance, I want to give some kudos to Jason Garrett, and not because I'm concerned about his not mentioned with a Kellen Moore. But Jason's put this coaching staff together, and he put this mix of young players we've got. But I couldn't have been comfortable had I not had the safety net that Jason Garrett and his experience and knowledge of the NFL, and for that matter on the offensive side of the ball, not been there to not only on a play-by-play basis, but in general be there. And he's doing a tremendous job. I told my father one time, I said, I couldn't have ever owned the Cowboys without you. And he said, oh, Jerry, he said, that's way too much. Don't go that far. And I said, I mean it, Dad. I said, now we all stand on someone's shoulders. But I said, you had success. And I said, not one time did I ever think that if I took risks that my children wouldn't be educated or that we'd be destitute. Now, I never talked to you about it, but I always knew that I had a little help there if I called on it. Consequently, I could cut and shoot better, and it caused me some edge and got me an advantage. Yeah, you had everything to do with me having the Cowboys.
Well said, Jerry. Congratulations, and let's do it again next week after another win.
Thanks, guys.
Jerry Jones, coming strong. Brought to you by Ford. Ford is the best in Texas.